slow and patient build-up from Roma. Diawara with the ball now, plays it out wide. Just check how many balls Roma have in the box. It's in for the first time, in for the second time, collapsing it. Ball's out wide again, just so much space on the flanks. And Kolarov, how many times have we seen that happen this season? Before we start, I like to give a huge shout out to all my Patreon members. All credit goes out to them as it's their support that is helping me create these videos. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe and comment to FMSCOUT's YouTube page. Peace and enjoy the video. Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's RDF and I'm back with FMSCOUT with another exciting video to show you guys. It's another formation that I have invented. I'm just going to be calling it the 2-6-2. Very great for me. As you can see, it was hugely successful as we won the league with this system, but not also the league, we also won the Europa League, beating Arsenal 3-0 in the final. Using this tactic will be very offensive. I appreciate it's a very unconventional shape and many people will not understand why this works in Football Manager, and I know a lot of people will be saying it's very unrealistic, but it is the concept that is very interesting for me, at least how the formation works and how the player moves around in the formation, as people will only see it as a 2-6-2, so to them they will only be thinking about two defenders and how we will be defending. But this formation actually does defend in numbers and it would hardly ever leave just two centre backs defending. But as you can see here, some surprising player stats like Kolarov being a top goal scorer with 16 goals. Under was a highest average rated player despite played a lot of his games as the right wing back. We'll talk a little bit about that. Spinazzola with 12 assists, though he wasn't the main left wing back either, but he still managed to get 12 assists. Kolarov with the highest man of the match awards. So we're going to be talking about the tactic, and I have 3 variations of this tactic. The first one will be the 2-6-2, which is a very simple 2-6-2 when we're looking at it. As you can see, 2 defenders, 5 midfielders in the line alongside 1 attacking midfielders with 2 strikers up top. Using this tactic, I used it at home for most of the games and away when I'm playing the very weak sides. In my second tactical slot, I've got another 2-6-2, which is a little bit more reserved with the 2 wide men dragged back to act like wing backs, so the game actually counts them as wing backs as they primarily focus on defending. But the way I see it when playing and when the system is in movement, in transition, again it is very much a 2-6-2 with these players mainly being around these positions here. I would use this at home when I'm playing against teams like Juve, Lazio, Inter, Napoli, teams that are mainly predicted to finish above me. And you can go back to number 1 if you feel that you need to have more attacking numbers and opportunities. And in the third and final tactical slot is the tactic I use for away matches. It's just the same as the number 2 with one difference in the transition instructions. The reason why I have 3 tactics here, just to make it a little bit more easier for you guys. So I'm not relying on you guys to make the tweaks. The tweaks are already there for you guys. So let's talk about the tactic and the instructions. Out of possession, we have a high defense line alongside a higher line of engagement. We want to be on the front foot, and we also don't want gaps to appear between the lines. One gap I'm mainly focusing on is the gap between the 2 centre backs and the midfield. I want that to be small as possible, but at the same time I don't want my 2 centre backs to be too high up the pitch. I think the higher defence line gives me the perfect balance. We will be using the offside trap alongside the defensive width. The defensive width is on standard, but I do change this to narrow around the 19th game of the season, when we are starting to play teams again for the second time, as I feel teams now know a way they can attack your system, and I feel that narrowing your defense width actually makes your defense a little bit more solid. And for the pressing intensity, we're going with more urgent, because like I said, we want to be on the front foot most parts of the game. We want to be in possession of the ball so we can do our business, because this system, I believe, works much better when you are in possession of the ball. So in transition, we are asking the team to regroup. By doing this, I'm asking players to have the responsibility to defend. So here is instructing all my midfielders and my attacking players to regroup. So I want them to have some responsibility when defending. Of course, not leaving those two centre backs way too exposed. And when my goalkeeper has possession of the ball, I'm going to be asking him to slow the pace down and asking him to distribute to my centre backs. The reason why I'm asking my team to slow down the pace, I feel that slowing down the pace actually gives the rest of the players time to drop deep and come into position in order to collect the ball when playing from the back. And when we are in possession, we will be having a positive mentality. So again, we'll be looking to keep possession at most of the times. With the attacking width, we are on fairly wide. This is a very good instruction for me. With the three placed here in centre midfielders and the attacking midfielders, the opposition are actually focusing a lot on marking these players out the game, and using fairly wide actually stretches the pitch a little bit, and it gives our wide players a lot of space on the flanks. And it's a little evident when you see Kolarov scoring 16 goals, raking up loads of assists. All my wide players actually have a lot of goals. Some of them are in double figures, and they also have a lot of assists. When approaching play, we are doing nothing fancy. We are actually just playing out of the fence because I want to prioritize possession. I also want the deep line playmaker to be in good use. Passing directness, I have gone with more direct. This is not instructing my players to kick the ball long. This is just instructing my players to be a little bit more direct, be a little bit more quicker in getting the ball into the danger areas and to the danger players. As you can see, we have a playmaker. A playmaker automatically instructs your team to give the ball to him. Main outlet, especially when playing from the back. So I want us to be a little bit more direct in our approach to getting the ball to these players. With the higher tempo too, this is to try unsettle defense and just have the team working in a more urgent fashion. We will be asking the team to work the ball into the box, so you would need your attackers to have good teamwork, decision, anticipation for this to work at its very, very best. Dribbling, we've gone for dribbling less because we want to prioritize keeping the ball. We don't want to lose the ball too often dribbling, because that can actually result in the opposition having counter-attacks, and counter-attacking can be very, very deadly. So we want to minimize that risk a lot. Creative freedom, I'm actually using more expressive. Now for the second tactic in the tactic slot is another 2-6-2 but with wing backs. The game actually counts this as a 4-man defense, but when in transition and when playing, you will see that a lot of the times these wing backs are in these positions. So for me, it is still a 2-6-2. The only difference between this and the first tactical slot regarding instructions, we are going to be countering. This is so the wing backs can be involved in the game a lot more. I have also removed work the ball into the box, as now they are wing backs. I actually want them to be crossing a little bit more. And for the third tactic in the tactic slot, again it is the same, but this one is used for away games. The only difference between this and number 2 is that when in possession, I have removed the counter option, and it relies more on the player duties to do the countering movements. So now let's talk about the player instructions. For the goalkeeper, I'm using the sweeper keeper on attack because I actually want him to be my first line of the build-up. I want him to be playing risky passes to our more effective players. For the 2 centre-backs, I've gone for the central defenders. I'm asking them to take fewer risks because I want them to not take any risk on the ball, as there is only 2 of them. I've also got them closing down less. If they move from position to close down the ball, it will leave a gap. Also, because I'm using an offside trap, that will automatically just ask them to press up a little bit. So I'm using close down less to try and just tone down the closing on my central defenders. For the central midfielder, deep line playmaker, he is on the defend duty. I'm asking him to pass it shorter just to keep the team ticking, for him to dictate the tempo and for him to prioritize possession. I have also asked him to close down less. Similar reasons for the two centre backs, for him to hold his position in midfield, not to venture too much when trying to win the ball back. For the central midfielder, he has a few options. Run wide with the ball and stay wider is a very good option that I use. The reason why I'm using this in this system is because, as you can see, the wide player only has himself down this flank. I am trying to force a relationship with the central midfielder and the wide player. With him going wide, this can also disrupt the opposition's defence. And for the box-to-box midfielder, I've only asked him to run wide with the ball. Similar reasons for the central midfielder, to try and create a relationship with the wide player on the flank, as the wide player on the flank is a lonely player. For the left-handed side of midfield, I've gone for the wide midfielder on attack, but with lots of instructions. The instructions I used are built from a complete wing back, so this is what a complete wing back would use, because like the team instruction, he is on regroup, so when defending he will be coming back like a wing back, but in attack he will be attacking like a wing back. Also, on the right hand side is very similar to the left hand side. It's basically the same, but the duty. This time I'm actually going to be using automatic duty, which would translate into control or support. The reason why he's the more supporting is because on this side we do have a box-to-box midfielder who is also roaming. Whilst in possession he's actually acting the same as the left-handed side, but out of the possession he acts more supportive, just giving us that little bit more solidarity down the flanks. In attacking midfield, we're going for the trequartista, which is a very interesting role in this system. Now, he's not actually too effective in play. He's an unsung hero. What he does is manipulates the opposition's defense. The opposition will think or will believe the trequartista is a very important player. They will think that he is the main playmaker, so he will be marked. And when he is being marked, this will leave gaps and space for players like the pressing forward and the complete forward, alongside the two wide players, to run into space. Up front we have a pressing forward. I have instructed him to shoot more often and to stay wider. Now for the shoot more often, my interpretation of this is not when they get the ball they will shoot more often. This tells me that when we have the ball, this will get them into good shooting positions for them to make a shot. That is my interpretation of this instruction. Again, it is not factual, but this is how I interpret this instruction. And for the complete forward, again, I have just asked him to shoot more often. He will be doing everything else, like holding up the ball, dribbling more, take more risk, moving to channels and roaming from position. The only difference in player roles or instructions with the other two tactics is, of course, the two wing backs. They are now on complete wing backs, but they don't have any instructions on them. They just have the complete wing back instructions that was given to them. So that's it for the tactic. Now we're going to move into training. Here we have training schedules that I use for this tactic, which I believed helped. It's a more balanced approach, again, like my previous schedules that I have created. So it's just a balance, getting everyone to train. But on the Thursday and Friday, it's all about match preparation, getting ready for the match. I've added a recovery on Thursday just to freshen up my players before the match. We've got attacking movement, teamwork and match tactics. This is just to keep the players happy, keep the players bonded, and also get them understanding the tactic a little better each time when training. And when we're playing two matches, it's very similar. It's a more balanced approach again. But before matches, we have now added some set piece schedules like delivery and attacking corners, just to try and be a more effective team on the set pieces too. The key to being champions and a very good tactic is to get goals from different places. Regarding individual training, I didn't actually add any individual training, but what I did do is add a training to players that I wanted to retrain in different positions. So just like Justin Kluivert, just mainly a winger. He was competent as a striker. At the end of the season, he is now a natural up front. And for Under, I've actually trained him as a complete wing back on the right hand side. He was my offensive wing back. So a lot of the times I played Zappacosta, but when I wanted to attack teams, Under played no matter if I did play a right midfielder or a right wing back. At the beginning of the season, it was nothing. It was just a blank like these. It was ineffectual. But now he is a competent player on the right hand side. And I'm guessing around another 6 months, he will be accomplished. And again, another player that excelled in this role. He played 26 games, scoring 10 and getting 10 assists, 6 man of the match awards with an average rating of 7.51. So very, very good return for Under, playing in an unnatural position for him. So that's it for the training. Now we're going to look into some stats for the season. And as you can see, we won the Europa League, beating Arsenal 3-0 in the final, which the stats may tell you different, but it was a little comfortable for me, especially after once we grabbed the first goal. I just felt we had the better opportunities of the two. So though Arsenal did have 13 shots, for me, a lot of them wasn't really goal scoring opportunities or threatening for me at all. Now when we look at the league, you can see we played 38, winning 30 of those, so that is a very, very good win ratio. We drew 4 of those games. That includes a 2-2 draw away to Lazio. We also lost 4 games. 3 of them were away matches, so that may be a little indication. We scored 83 goals in the season, which was the second most in the league, and we also conceded 31 goals, which was the first best defense in the league. With average possession, we finished joint first with 56%. Fairly surprisingly, that I've never really focused on, but we've actually had the most headers won ratio with 67%. As you can see here, Juve scored 101 goals and we came second with 83. We had the best cross completion ratio alongside the most crosses completed within the league. We only scored 6 from corners, so it's not like our set piece routine was absolutely out of this world and we wouldn't have lived without it. So set pieces wasn't our weak link, but it certainly wasn't our strength either. It was just okay for us. We're also joint first with pass completion ratio with 89%, and we came in second with the most passes completed, which is very, very impressive for me. We was third with chances created, so we didn't create the most, but we created a lot. We created 87. We did have the most shots on target, but we didn't have the best conversion rate. So that is something to look at. But it could be down to having my 2 strikers on shoot more often. But that is just something I do not want to tweak. As you can see, we're still drawing a lot of fouls, though we're dribbling less. And I think that is down to us frustrating the opposition's defense by making it hard for them to mark, which will force them to give us unnecessary fouls, which I'm very, very happy with, because it shows that we are very difficult to deal with. We only conceded 3 from corners. We have 17 clean sheets, which is the 3rd best in the league. When it comes to fouls made, we sit 17th. We don't foul a lot at all. Our tackles run ratio is very good too, 86%. That makes us finish 3rd in that table. And when we look at some player stats, goals, nothing jumps out for us because this is purely based on teamwork. I want goals and assists to be spreaded throughout the whole team. I don't want one superstar in my team. Kolarov in the top goal scoring league alongside Edin Dzeko. Average goals per minute, Kalajdzic is there, Kolarov, Spinazzola surprisingly, and Edin Dzeko, Kluivert finishing 20th in that table. Now just looking at our squad stats within our squad. The most goals in all competitions was Kolarov with 16, Dzeko with 15, Kluivert, Kalajdzic with 14, Under with 10. So as you can see, I have 2 wide players, wing backs or wide midfielders, whatever you want to call them, in double figures with both goals and assists. Like I explained, I want all my players to be sharing goals and assists. I do not want just one superstar in my team. And just a quick tip for you guys, when selecting your team, please make sure that your players are 93% condition or above. But that's about it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment to Scout's YouTube place. Probably the best place to be getting your Football Manager tactics. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I have loved recording this and editing this video for you guys. Please stay safe out there. Enjoy your Football Manager safe. Peace and love from RDF. See you soon.